what is holding space? We hear this a lot, but what does that mean, holding space? And maybe give a couple examples, like when you're just trying to hold space for your child or your lover to go through whatever they need to go through, or somebody that you don't even know on the street. Maybe give a couple examples to kind of flesh out, what does that mean to hold space for someone?
What a good question. I really love that question. I think it's a certain way of embodiment, getting into a very coherent state of mind body alignment, mind body synchrony. And so I think the work of Pema Chodron and her teachers and that lineage of the way of the Bodhisattva have really influenced my perspective and perception of what it means to hold space. And you said bodhicitta earlier. I think you meant to say bodhisattva, but the practice of bodhicitta is the primary practice of the bodhisattva. And so bodhi means awakened or enlightened. The Buddha was awakened under the Bodhi tree, and chitta means heart, but it also means mind. So, and that's really something very interesting to note about different languages, right? Different languages from different cultures point to different things. And this word chitta, C-I-T-T-A, points to almost heart mind as if one thing. And so the way that I just relate to this notion of space holding, and this is kind of also how I relate to this like Jedi training for the 21st century, for warriors on the heart tribe is like how, and this is, so much easier said than done, because the definition of somebody who is like completely open heart, open mind. Someone comes to you and they say something and you centralize around self. It's like that pre-verbal contraction. If someone says, like, oh, you did that thing, that was whatever. And it's like this experience of visceral contraction. And so the practice of the Bodhisattva is cultivating this practice of bodhicitta, which is actually takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of willingness. It's like lifetimes of practice, where because those habitual responses to shutting down it's just so deeply ingrained in us. It's like that knee-jerk reaction to contract. And when we contract, we actually create separation. And so the way that I think about space holding is staying open, and that's really also like the definition, this notion of wide open mind, wide open heart, in the face of adversity, in the face of pain, in the face of suffering, and we get to know those places, those dark places very, very intimately, especially when we work with, plant medicines and psychedelics. And that's why it's the path of the warrior. It takes a lot of compassion and willingness to stay open without centralizing around self, without being afraid of it's like watching someone drowned in the ocean. And then like we practice swimming so that we can help those people who are also not making it through right now. But if we just become so afraid, then we're not going to be a help to anyone. If we also jump in and drown, we're not a big help to anyone. So this notion of space holding, to me, and this is probably going to be a very different answer than, anyone else that you ask. It's this notion of like really tuning into this sense of open quality of heart and open quality of mind. And I think that's really important for community, especially because when we know, it's our family, it's our closest friends, our closest loved ones that like we have the potential to hurt us the most when they give us a reflection that doesn't feel good, or, when challenges are coming, you want to get real close to someone, like just live in community with them, and see all those parts. And so the space holding is this capacity to take our seat, and that's a metaphorical training, and it's also a physical real training. And we train in taking our seat and staying centered. And Chogyam Trungpa says, strong back, open front. Strong back, we're embodying this sense of dignity, and we embody this sense of dignity, and then we hold space and send a signal through many different ways, seen and unseen, vibration, frequency, entrainment, but also through very subtle visual cues. And we give other people permission to embody their center, their sense of dignity, and to communicate from that place. And of course, when we start going into space holding, we are literally creating a very strong container, a strength, an energetic field where, and sometimes like I'll hold space for people when I do deep solo dives with the medicine. I'm space holding for all the people I'm working with right now, and they're not even in my physical space, but I can feel it. I can feel the energy of that. And, when we start looking at, going down the quantum rabbit hole of entanglement and Rupert Sheldrake's work and, some of the research that Lynn McTaggart has done, we know that our thoughts and that we are essentially like these antennas that influence our reality around us. And so space holding for me is like really getting into that integrated mind-body alignment so that our signal, our channel is very clear. The space is very clear. It's not like this staticky quality of like chaos. It's more synchronous. And we create that space by the way that we choose to show up in mind, body, heart synchrony.
Make sure you all head over to benjosephstewart.com, become a member. You'll have access to the growing library of deeper dives where I talk about all the stuff that I really can't talk about on YouTube. Make sure you get involved in the Discord chat. That's where a lot of the conversation is happening, talking about new theories, being able to interweave into the greater conversation that is how we awaken infinity. That's our highest potential. And I just want to remind you, you are the most powerful technology ever known to creation. Wield it like an artist with a conscience.